So what I got for you today is the new Sony GP-VPT3 multifunction shooting grip. Hey, what's going on? My name is Jay. I'm a 20+ year pro photographer, licensed drone pilot, YouTuber, father of 2 amazing humans, and let's just get right into it. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use this grip. It's going to be like a beginner's guide style video. So it's a huge upgrade from the previous generation grip, which was also really cool. But what's special about this one is how the remote control comes off like this. So now you literally have a wireless remote commander and the shooting grip like kind of as one. And of course the shooting grip acts as a little tripod as well. Hey guys, I just wanted to let you know Sony did let me borrow this camera and the shooting grip so I could make this tutorial for you, but it was just a loaner, just to let you know. First thing we're going to want to do on the back here is put the battery in. So it takes one of those batteries that looks like a circle, kind of looks like a coin, and it's the CR2032. If you guys need an extra battery, that's what it is. And you'll see them like on, in Home Depot and Walmart in the battery area. They're just like hanging up there. They're very cheap. So to get to the battery, you got to kind of pull this little gray lever and then pull this number 2. So I kind of do it like that. And kind of use your thumb like this and then your other finger to lift this up. So anyways, you just unscrew this a little bit like so, and then this pops off. And now you can see the battery in there. I already put it in there. The plus side goes up, guys, and make sure that you take off the little plastic film that's on the back. There's like a protective film on there that you got to take off before you put it in. And notice the rubber gasket here for weather sealing, which is really nice. What I recommend doing is just getting this handle ready to go like so. So now you can hold it by the little handle, and now you can just put it back on nice and easy like so, and then lock that down. And now the remote commander is ready to go. So what we're going to need to do now is pair this with the camera so we can actually use it. So let me show you how to do that. So what I have here is the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. So I also have the power zoom. This is the 10-20 f4G lens. And again, it's a power zoom. So it has this power zoom lever over here, which is awesome for, zooming nice and smooth, nice and slow. So what's cool is this has the zoom on the remote control as well. You can see right here, it's got the wide angle and then the telephoto. So the first thing we're going to need to do is go into the menu, navigate to the Bluetooth area, and it's the little green icon on the left side. And then you're going to look for the Bluetooth function. You're going to want to turn that on. Then you're going to want to go down to pairing. And now the camera is ready to go. All right, so now we need to get the remote into pairing mode. And to do that, we're just going to hold down the C1 button right here and the record button at the same time for a couple seconds. And you'll see that red light start blinking up top. There you go. And now look on the camera here. It says connect, and just click the OK button by hitting this set button, or you can touch the screen as well. Connected, okay, and now we are good to go. Now the last thing we need to do is go here to Bluetooth remote control and make sure you have that turned on as well, right there. And once that's all on, this will be working. So now you're able to zoom. You could hit the record button to start recording, like so. You could do AF on, which will focus for you, as you could see here. If you hit this button, it'll take a photo if you're in photo mode, but I'm in video mode right now. So let me switch this to photo mode. And now if I hit this button, it'll focus. If you half press it, just like a regular shutter button, and then it'll take the photo, zoom out. I love the power zoom lenses. It's so cool how this works. And you could hit record while in photo mode as well, and it'll record video. It just won't be in that, 16:9 format. And then you have the custom C1 button here, which you can set to what you want. By default on the ZV-E10 Mark II, that is set to background defocus mode. So right now it's clear. Right now it's set to defocus. And now you also have this toggle switch here for zoom, focus, and lock. Think of lock like the off switch, okay? So this doesn't actually have an off switch, but when you put it in lock, when you hit any of the buttons, it's not going to do anything, so it won't drain the battery. So there technically is no off, but just think of lock as off. And then focus here, if you switch it to focus, we're going to have to put the camera in manual focus. So I'm just going to do that quick. So it's in MF mode right now. So now that I have it in manual focus, when I hit the telephoto to wide angle, it'll actually go to the magnify zoom, which is pretty cool. So if I want to focus, let's just say on this Anta Mini device here, I can adjust the focus now. See that? And it moves nice and slow, very smooth little increments. So you can dial in the manual focus very easily, which is awesome. So like right here is about right. And then I can hit record, for example, and now I'm recording in manual focus, and I am focused on the atom up there. So that's how that works. So here is the grip, and it's got this cavity here where the remote goes, of course. And let's just go around this grip real quick. So we have a little location here where you can put like a wrist strap. That's what that's for. So I do recommend putting a wrist strap on there if you're using the shooting grip with your camera. Just God forbid you bump into something. Think about hiking and tripping over a root or something like that. That's when stuff can get dropped. So highly recommend using that. Now this also opens up like a little mini tripod, as you can see here. And you could just plop it down like so. And the grip feels really good. If you look at like the ergonomics of this grip, it's got like a nice texture here. It's got this little notch here that can like hold your finger quite nicely, like rests on there, which I really like. Then you also have this push button here. This push button allows you to rotate the head, and then you can adjust the tension with this dial over here. So it's loose right now, so this will move very easily, but you could tighten this dial up, and now this is a lot tighter. So that's what this dial is for. And it has like 10-degree increments. So when you move it, it'll move in like 10-degree and then lock. So you could pretty much get it in any position you want. Also, there's a button here. This button allows you to swivel it. So you could swivel it like that, or you can swivel it all the way around, like to switch it to selfie mode, for example. If you want to go from selfie to like, you know, regular, you can just swivel it with this and maintain the comfortable grip position. And then of course the commander, you could see here, it's got like a little notch in the top, and that notch goes into the top of the remote here. So it just slides in, and that's it. So it fits in there pretty good. It's pretty tight. It's not gonna like pop out accidentally, but it does come out fairly easy. I also wanted to note here on the bottom of the grip is these like little rubber feet. So this is like a rubber. It's a pretty hard rubber, but it will give you some grip, and there's another one right here. So when this is sitting on the table, for example, like this, you are getting 3 points of rubber contact. So there is some friction there, so it's going to be less likely to slide. This is very well built and just well thought out. Sony engineering is always very impressive. So up here you got the 1/4-20 thread, and then there's this screw here, and you can grab the screw from both sides. So it's like really easy to just tighten with like 2 fingers like this. You got the 1/4-20 on the bottom of your camera, and pretty much all cameras have that. So all we got to do is put the screw in that 1/4-20, and then I'm just going to swivel and turn. Like so. So you get that nice and tight, square it up, and there we have it. So now we have a shooting grip. And you can see I'm holding this thing just like that. You can hit this button on the back and swivel this around like so, and now it's in selfie mode. So now you got it in selfie mode. All right, now we're in video mode, and I have it set for Cine Vlog. Let me hit record and I'll show you what this looks like. All right, so now I'm recording and I'm in Cine Vlog S Cine Tone. So zoom in here if you want to get closer to the camera and like make a point or something like that. And you can zoom out, and there you have it. It's pretty cool how that works, right? And it's so much easier to hold the camera with the shooting grip, in my opinion. It's just way easier. So holding the camera with one hand like this, you know, it's like awkward. The grip's also super convenient for using in the car. And another thing I wanted to mention was, normally when you're doing like selfie footage or vlogging footage, I would need to use my left hand because the screen is on the right side of the camera, so it's kind of hard to use your right hand unless you're under the lens, for example. But if you're grabbing it by the grip, you got to use your left hand. But I'm right hand dominant, so the grip makes it so much easier to use with, like for me, for my right hand, which is obviously like if I'm using a gimbal or something like that, I always pretty much use my right hand because my right shoulder is much stronger, and it gets tired when hand holding like this. So I really like how it makes it, like, again, just easier to use in the real world. And of course I could zoom in here while I'm recording effortlessly, not even looking at the camera. Face detect is going to make sure that the focus is on point, so I don't have to worry about that either. So this is just a killer combo. You could use either hand, and you can adjust the angle to get it just right. And so if I put this down on the desk, for example, I'm probably going to have to adjust the angle. Yeah, see? So now it's like aiming up too much. So all I got to do is hit this button on the side like I showed you earlier, and I can dial this in. And now we have it perfectly aimed at me. And now check this out. I can grab the remote, back up, and zoom in. I'm going to adjust the angle a little better because I'm a little further back now. Let me get it right about there. All right, so now I'm back here, and now I can zoom in, get a little closer to the camera, and just effortlessly with this remote, stop recording, start recording, focus, whatever you want to do. Now, this remote is good for 10 meters. So that's 30 feet. So you can get 30 feet away from the camera approximately and still use the remote. So that's a lot better than the previous generation, which I believe was only like, I don't know, 15 feet? I think it was 15 feet on the other unit. So that's how that works. And I can just zoom out now because I'm getting closer to the camera. I really like the fact that you can have the camera a couple feet away and you don't have to walk over and hit record. You can get your composition set up just how you like it and then just hit the record button, and you know, you can hold the remote in your hand or put it in your pocket or something, and you don't have to worry about it being seen, you know, sort of thing. All right, so let me stop recording. One other thing, guys, is the zoom controller. It's actually a 2-stage. So if you just slightly press it, it'll zoom really slow. Just wanted to show you the different zoom speeds. So this is the slow zoom speed, and this is the fast zoom speed. So that's that 2-stage toggle on the zoom there. Kind of similar to the shutter button, how you can half press it. It works very similar in that regard. And again, with the ZV-E10, having that background blur feature, like on the fly, you can just hit the button for C1 and it'll switch so the background is sharp or the background is blurry, just with the push of the C1 button when using the ZV-E10 or the ZV style cameras. By default, that's what the C1 button is programmed for. All right, guys, so one word of caution I just wanted to give you is, depending on what lens you're using, the payload is limited because this tripod is so small. Like the tripod can support like a lot of weight, but it's just like it tipping over is where the limitation comes in. So if you have like a 24-70 lens, for example, this is going to be front heavy. So you're going to have to use caution when doing stuff like that. You can like angle this back further, for example, to make it more stable. But if you see, if I like angle this like all the way forward like this, it's now going to be much more likely to be tipsy, as you can see here. So that's really the only limitation, is just the size of the tripod, but the payload on this is quite high. So you can support like a Sony a7C with a 24-70 or something, or a 16-35 power zoom PZ lens. Like this can absolutely do it. It's just a matter of stability when putting it down. So definitely want to put it on something flat if you're using a higher payload. Something like this is pretty much fine unless you have it at an extreme angle. So there's just some food for thought there. Something like a camera like the ZV-1, for example, is so lightweight you probably won't have to worry about it no matter what angle you put it in. So to do vertical shooting, I kind of have it set up like this, and you kind of hold the grip sideways if you want to do vertical. So you do have that option. It is a little bit more awkward to use like this though. So depending if you're left-handed or right-handed, you know, you can swivel it either way. But I kind of like it like this if you're going to do vertical. It's an option. Or you can just leave it, you know, how it was by default and just hold it like this for vertical, you know, or like this. You can do it either way. So again, guys, when you're not using this, if just put it in the lock position, and that will help keep that battery from discharging when you are not using it. All right, so you can get the grip in black, white, or you can just get the standalone remote commander controller if you want. So you can get 3 different options basically. Now the remote commander by itself goes for about $89.99 US approximately. And again, the grip goes for $159.99 or $160 US. All right, guys, that is about it for the new Sony multifunction shooting grip, the GP-VPT3. All right, guys, I'll catch up with you next time. Please let me know if you have any questions. Just ask below in the comments area, and I will be happy to help. All right, guys, have a great day.